amazing. I ought to be after 20 years.
Oh, there's something I ought to tell you.
Tell me. I'm not left-handed either.
What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Dungeons & Dragons 5th Edition Power Gamers Tactics Room. I'm your host, Bill Brown Bafflestone. So today we're having another episode of my Metagaming series, where I talk about Dungeons & Dragons from a more holistic perspective. And today I wanted to talk about concept builds. Because it's been on my mind lately, because I've been doing this Bladesinger series, which I've gotten so excited about that I literally just plunged right into it and started cranking them out. And they are a tremendous amount of work in terms of the hours invested, just, creating the character sheets and, updating them through all the different iterations and then carving them out as graphics and making the video. And they have been pretty long compared to the videos that I normally put out. I had one that was like over an hour long, which is quite a departure from my original vision of this channel being like 10 minutes or less. But hey, go figure, the audience wants more longer videos, so I'm definitely mixing those in. But I got like so single-minded in creating these, because it didn't feel like work. It was so much fun just brainstorming all of these different concepts, especially compared to the Fighter series, which was quite simplistic. And I will finish that one day. I only have the Eldritch Knight really to go. I will finish that one day. But I just, I'm obsessed with the whole Bladesinger idea and rolling out all of these different Bladesinger concepts. And I'm working on the current one, and this one's pretty out there. You'll understand what I'm talking about when I show you that video, which will probably be a couple of videos from now, because I'm going to definitely throw out some shorter videos. I forgot my mission statement of trying to put out a video every other day. And the whole idea was that, okay, I would have these longer videos, but in the meantime, I would do ones that aren't quite so work intensive. But I was just so excited about doing the Bladesinger stuff that I just forgot. So sorry about that. I've only put out like 2 videos in the last 10 days, which is, it's not what I want. So anyway, I was building all of these Bladesinger concepts. And in the comments for some of them, I got the sense that some people took the label that I was giving these as concept builds as a pejorative, as if it was like a diss. And so I thought it'd be interesting to talk about, and that's why we're talking about it today. I wanted to go over just kind of how I mentally structure my approach to builds and how I categorize them and what I'm trying to accomplish with them. So as an overarching category, are concept builds, right? I mean, I feel like every build is a concept build, right? I mean, nobody just picks one at random. They are either trying to manifest a role-playing character that they have envisioned, or they are trying to maximize a particular role that they've envisioned. And there's tons of roles. There's tanks, there's strikers or skirmishers, and there's ranged marshals, and there's casters of all types, control and blast and summoners. And then there's, the interaction phase roles like face and, intimidator and sneaky guy with the criminal connections, and all that stuff. And so those are like the 2 types of approaches that I think there are when it comes to concept builds. And I think that every type of concept builds deserves to be optimized. You want to be the face, you should be the very best face. And let's, look at the rules and figure out cool combos and all of that to make you like a super good face. And the same comes with the combat ones. If you're going to be a tank, you should be like an optimized tank. Not necessarily in another category which I'm about to talk about, but one that manifests the vision that you're trying to reach, because there's going to be some role-playing elements to it as well, right? And then within the whole overarching category of concept builds, I have a couple of other categories that are still within, they're still concept builds, but they are special enough to deserve a different category within that overarching categories. And the first are what I call superior builds. And a superior build is the best at a particular role. So a superior build is the best tank, or the best ranged marshal, or the best control caster, right? And there are still a couple of builds in those categories. because even though best is a superlative and there should be only one, there's going to be a little bit of difference of agreement based on the philosophy that's being employed, right? And so that's something that we have to consider as well. What is your philosophy? And more specifically, are you offensive-minded or defensive-minded? Because I'm very defensive-minded, and I think that reflects in all of my builds in an optimizer forum that I frequent. Someone said about me that Bill Braun creates walls, not glass cannons. And I took that as such a compliment that made me feel good inside, because that's what I want. I don't necessarily just want guys that can blow up on a Nova and kill a Tarrasque in 2 rounds, although that would be super impressive. I like guys that can go the distance, guys that can be, at like 80% effectiveness on their 8th battle of the day. And guys that are just super hard to bring down with lots of layers of defenses and such. And so if we're talking about like the best, for example, tank, I might say, well, I like this tank better because even though he's only at like 85% of the DPR of this competing build that you think is the best tank, I like it because he's just got, all of these temporary hit points and a much higher AC and all of these other defenses and, yada, yada, yada. And that's just a difference of opinion. And you can't, once you get to that level, you can just say, all right, well, you know what, that one does have like, amazing DPR. This one does have the ability to go 8 battles into a day and still be kicking butt. So, pick your poison. It kind of depends on your preference. But those are the superior builds. And because there are just so many conceptual categories, there are, a bunch of different categories. But you could quantify them if we were to sit down and sketch it out. I'm reminded of an exchange between philosophers where one guy was like, oh, there's infinite numbers of ways to do X. There's this, there's that, the other thing, there's this, there's another thing and another thing and another thing. And the philosopher he was talking to was just like, well, you said infinite and you've listed 8. So, keep going. And so there are, only so many categories. You'd have to sit down and kind of like, brainstorm and figure out how many there are. But it's a finite number. It's probably, single digits, maybe low double digits. But in any case, those are the very, very best tanks. And so, I think the Beastly Bladesinger that I put forth, is a contender for the very best tank. I mean, that thing just had crazy high damage and crazy good defenses and all of that. But, it's open to opinion. Then I have one final category that is below even superior builds. It's basically the ultimate build. And that is essentially the very, very, very best superior build along 3 metrics. 1, going to have the most impact over 1,000 battles. 2, best chance of defeating any individual creature one-on-one in the game. And 3, most likely to emerge victorious if for some reason he was thrown into some kind of battle royale in an arena with all of his other party members, regardless of what archetype they might be, or what build they might be, or how good their build is. And in my experience, there's always an ultimate build in every game. My goal in entering a new game is always to figure that out and then manifest it and then enjoy a period of just dominating other people and, having a good time with that. And I did that already with Dungeons & Dragons. It's been a year and a half. I've figured it out. It's the Articron, guys. Artificer 1, 19th levels of Chronogist, probably a goblin so that you can leverage hiding and you leverage summons. And that's the ultimate build. That's the build that is most impactful over 1,000 battles. That's the build that has most chance one-on-one against any creature in the game. That's the build that's going to win in Battle Royale against all of his teammates. And then you can kind of, optimize it further within that category based on preference. But I mean, that's what it is. And that's boring, right? Once you do it. And so this gets back to the opening movie clip that I started this video with from The Princess Bride, where, both of these cats started out the battle left-handed. And as an NBA fan, I remember Larry Bird once famously played a game left-handed. And also Wilt Chamberlain, who was like the greatest scorer of all time, just decided for like a season or two that he was just going to be like, you know what, I'm going to not score. I'm just going to be like the best assist guy in the NBA. And he did it, right? And so, the point being is that sometimes for fun, you get past that period of just stomping everybody and you just get a little bored with it. Like in my current campaign, which is like only 2 sessions away, I might be level 12 at the end of it, but it's almost over. And we were talking with an arch mage that was drow and we suspected might betray us. And so I was playing a little bit coy at the beginning about sharing our intel and, you know, stuff like that. But then I was like, you know what? There's literally nothing this guy can do to me. I mean, I've got, like, all of my layers of defenses are in place. Even 9th level spells, there's nothing he can do to me. So, all right, whatever, I'll share my intel. Which is fun. But, you know, now that campaign is coming to an end, I'm going to have to start thinking about my next character. And I want to deviate from that. I want to play left-handed a little bit and do something really kooky, right? I don't necessarily even want to play a superior build, but I want to play a concept build that is extremely effective in really kooky, unexpected ways, putting together really funny, not necessarily funny, but amusing combos that are just really effective in battle. And I think that's what I've got on tap for my next build. Yet another Blade Singer build, but one that definitely goes against type. Maybe isn't necessarily the best at his role, so I don't necessarily want to call it a superior build. I can definitely think of other classes and archetypes that might be able to pull off this sort of thing better. But I did include certain things that only the Blade Singer can pull off that I think are really wicked effective, that I think in actual gameplay would be fun and, you know, not a drag on the party, but something that's going to contribute to the party in an exceptional way, but just also in an unusual and cool way. And that's the sort of concept build that I want to play. There's no pejorative involved. Just because it's not the ultimate build doesn't matter to me. I mean, just because the Articron is going to have more impact over 1,000 battles and, you know, do better against any single monster and probably beat me in a battle royale, that's okay. I did that, right? So that's just basically all I wanted to say. Talk a little bit about how I look at building and just get across to you folks that there's no negative implications involved with rolling out a concept build. I just want to optimize them as best I can. And that's why I put out a bunch of different looks at the Blade Singer lately. We had a tank, actually a couple of tanks. We had a skirmisher. We had a ranged guy. I had a couple of guys that were just like super amazing on the defenses that you just really couldn't kill them at all. And then I've had some that could really turn on the offense. And then the Beast of the Blade Slinger, which basically did both. So in any case, the next build is going to be coming soon. In the meantime, I look forward to some deep dives and such into spells that I've been meaning to look into, like Levitate and Lifeberry. You know, there's a few. Yeah, let me know what you think in the comments. And also let me know in the comments any particular concepts that you might want to see me optimize. I'm definitely on a builds kick, and even though they are, you know, more work and more time invested, it's a really fun development. I do enjoy doing builds. I just wasn't going to do builds at first because that just wasn't my vision. But turns out builds are super popular, and I have a lot of fun doing them. So yeah, full speed ahead on the builds thing. So regardless, thank you so much for watching. This has been the Dungeons & Dragons 5th Edition Power Gamers Tactics Room. I'm your host, Bill Bafflestone. See you next time.